Why political assassination history is suddenly back at the center is not really over. Because the decision behind it is still shaping the present. By the end, you will see why political assassination history is suddenly back at the center still changes how people think, decide, and react today. Most viewers remember the event, but the real story is the structure it left behind. But the rules of global power have just been rewritten in real time. By the end of this, you'll understand why these hits are back, and why they're more dangerous than a full-scale war. Recent events in Israel and Iran have shattered a decades-old unspoken agreement. When Israel targets IRGC leaders, they aren't just removing men from a chessboard. They are sending a message that no bunker is deep enough, and no border is secure. Most people think these strikes are about revenge, but that is the first major misconception. In reality, it's about a cold, calculated shift in the cost of conflict. For 50 years, the world operated on the idea that heads of state were off limits. This wasn't out of kindness. It was a survival tactic for the elite. If I don't kill your leader, you won't kill mine. But technology has finally destroyed that balance. When a drone can identify a face from 10,000 feet, the cost of an assassination drops to nearly zero. Why send an army of 50,000 when you can send a single piece of software? This is why political assassination history is suddenly back at the center, stops feeling distant and starts getting heavier. This creates a terrifying new incentive for nations facing a threat. If Iran's nuclear program is a distant threat, killing the minds behind it feels like a shortcut to safety. But there is a hidden consequence that most analysts are missing. When you remove the brain of a system, the body doesn't just die, it panics. We are moving from a world of predictable wars to a world of unpredictable chaos. Take the recent escalation. Israel didn't just strike a building. They struck the idea of sovereignty. When an IRGC leader is killed in a diplomatic compound, the old borders essentially vanish. The audience feels this tension even if they don't know the names involved. It's the feeling that the global order is no longer holding. Let's look at the incentive for Israel. They see a nuclear-armed Iran as an existential endgame. But the real story is not the event itself. It is the long shadow that decision left behind. Assassination becomes the third way, the middle ground that feels like control. But here is the reversal. Assassination rarely ends the threat. It only evolves it. History shows that when you kill a charismatic leader, you often replace them with a fanatic. The new leaders have no memory of the old gentlemen's agreements. They only know that their predecessor was killed while trying to play by the rules. This makes the world infinitely more volatile for the average person. Suddenly, a strike in Damascus affects the price of oil in Chicago and the sense of safety in London. We are back at the center of assassination history because we've run out of other options. When nations stop talking, they start aiming. And the target isn't just a person. It's the stability of the entire region. The debate we should be having isn't about whether these strikes are effective. The real question is, what happens when every nation adopts this model? And this is why political assassination history is suddenly back at the center, stops feeling historical and starts feeling personal again. This is the distilled version of modern warfare. It's no longer about capturing territory. It's about paralyzing the enemy's mind. Israel's actions against Iran's nuclear infrastructure are the blueprint for the next decade. The era of the front line is over. The era of the targeted person is here. This history is back because it works in the short term, but fails in the long term. The immediate payoff is a delayed nuclear program or a disrupted command chain. The long-term cost is a world where every leader lives in a state of permanent paranoia. And paranoid leaders do not make rational decisions for their people. So, are we seeing a surge in real threats? Or just a surge in our ability to kill the threat? The answer is both. The threat is real, but our solution is accelerating the very chaos we fear. We are living through a period where history is being made by those who can disappear the fastest. The takeaway is simple but chilling. Assassination is no longer a shadow tool. It is the primary tool of the 21st century. It has moved from the dark corners of the CIA to the front page of every news site. The tension you feel watching these headlines isn't just about a war far away. It's the realization that the wall between political history and personal safety has collapsed. As we watch the next strike unfold, ask yourself, what happens when there are no more leaders left to hit? What matters now is where the legacy of why political assassination history is suddenly back at the center gets pulled back into the next conflict. The rules are gone. The question is what comes next.